Yeah, my ex traumatized me. His last date thought he was a kidnapper. I'm scared of talking to pretty girls. He's chewing and his teeth are moving up here and you're just like, they ask you about your political view and he wants you to sing with him and you're like, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. First things first, so have you ever found yourself in a similar situation or the exact same situation like this one? Oh, Priscilla, hey. Did you hear your ex actually has a new girlfriend? Nah, really? So, Priscilla, what are you gonna do about that? And fun fact, all of a sudden you have the thought of like, well, you know, if he moved on with another girl, maybe I should give dating another try. Like, why not? Then your friend suggests the following. Oh my god, you should totally like install Tinder or Bumble. You know, actually, I think I should. Like, why not? And you go right on your phone, you install Tinder, and after 2 days, you try to log into your Tinder and you realize you got blocked. And the reason you got blocked was because supposedly you were a robot because you didn't know how a ladybug looked like. So, if you think that's a ladybug right there, you're wrong, apparently. So, you contact the Tinder customer service, although you were told over the internet that they never reply, and that you're pretty much screwed over, but you're like, you know what, I had a lot of matches, I'm gonna try this out, because I really wanted to try dating again. So you go on Tinder, you text them, you're like, listen, I don't know what's going on, I didn't do anything wrong, and you get the text, hey, yeah, you just have to, you know, pass the test, they thought you're a robot for some reason, yeah, so apparently you're a robot for being too picky, like swiping left too much. I am so sorry for being a little more picky on who I want to date. Anyways, so you do the test again, and this time you have to decide what a cow looks like. And if you thought a cow looks like that, guess what? You're wrong again, because a cow apparently does not look like that. You contact them again, you wait a little bit, 2 hours later, you go on Tinder, and it works! And you're back in the game. After realizing no one texts you back on Tinder, because apparently, if they do text you back, they just want to, you know, do a little hookup here and there, you decide, you know, maybe Bumble is a better thing. So, you install Bumble instead. You go on Bumble, and you get a few matches, and then you find that perfect guy that texts you, and you feel you have a connection and stuff, and then you read they have a different religious belief than you, and you're like, come on, it can't be that bad. So, you know, we both agree on like, hey, let's just text over a different app and let's deinstall all our dating apps, which you gladly do because you think, hey, seems like a nice guy, why not? And that's when it starts crumbling down. You have this great connection, you find them attractive, you think they're funny, you flirt with them, you have an amazing time, and then they drop the bomb of, hey, actually, you know, that picture you saw on Bumble, that was actually like an old picture of me, let me send you a new one. And the picture from this is fake pictures, by the way. I would never use real pictures. A picture like this one turned into this one. You're like, come on, great connection. You find them attractive and stuff. You're excited, you want to meet them. And then you go on a date. So you go on a date, and as soon as they get out of the car, you realize they don't look as you thought they would look. And actually mention that. You say, so you disappointed? And you're just like, no, not at all. And you lie. Because what are you gonna say? Oh yeah, actually I was expecting someone to look like that, you know. Yeah, but they're like, oh, you look exactly like your profile. Wow, that's because it's actually an accurate picture of me and I didn't Photoshop it or, you know, took an old picture of myself, if you know what I mean. Okay, here's a trigger warning. I am not saying that it's bad to mention this stuff. I'm just saying for a first date, it's a lot to mention because on the first date, you're supposed to impress someone and not like just spill out your entire burden on them. I'm not a therapist. Anyways, so, you know, you're going for a walk, you're having a good time, and all of a sudden, the bomb drops. Dun, dun. All of a sudden they're like, yeah, my ex traumatized me, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm scared of contact with people. I'm scared of pretty girls. Ah, nice. Okay, here's a trigger warning. I told you I tried to kill myself. Good to know. I'm sorry about that, but why would you tell this to a total stranger? And then he tells you about how his last date thought he was a kidnapper because of his hair, which sounds amazing. Yeah, cool, so we're dating a kidnapper. Then he tells you about like how he wasn't able to be in the military anymore because he has this breathing problem that woke up the entire military. So you're already picturing a picture of you and him sharing a bed, and he's gonna snore so loud that he can't fall asleep. And the date is coming to an end, you know, and he offers to go to a restaurant with you, you know? So you go to a date in the restaurant, and all of a sudden you're sitting across from each other, and I don't know if I'm intimidating or something, but all of a sudden this happens. I just smacked myself. Okay, that doesn't happen. All of a sudden this happens. I'm sorry, I'm scared of talking to pretty girls. And you're just sitting there like, oh, it's fine. You start to eat, you know, I wasn't feeling that good. So I don't know why. I wasn't feeling 100% good. So I didn't have appetite anymore, although I was hungry. All of a sudden your date, aka my date, it's just like, hey, I'm not sure if you noticed, but my friend teeth are fake. And right in that moment when you look, he's chewing and his teeth are moving up here and you're just like, it kind of ruined my appetite because I just saw the teeth and I was scared they're gonna fall out and I was like, you know, I think I'm good. So you kind of try to force yourself to eat something. The date is coming to an end and you want to go home. You're like, yeah, I have work tomorrow. And you decide, he's like, oh, well, if it's cold, so do you want to sit inside the car? And you're like, oh, schnitzel. You didn't want to be rude because you're a nice person, right? So you're like, yeah, fine, let's sit inside the car. Big mistake. So you're sitting inside the car and you're talking a little bit and all of a sudden the bomb drops. They ask you about your political view. You find out you both have totally different views. So not just religious views are different, but also political views. So two big major things. The marriage thing drops. Like, get married in around 2 years and you're like, we're not even dating yet. So, you know, we're not like officially dating yet. Then they grab out their guitar and he starts singing songs to you, like love songs, and you're just like, and he wants you to sing with him and you're like, it's getting late. And you're like, oh, actually, listen, I do actually have to go to work tomorrow. And they're like, well, you would have to kick me out of the car. And I'm just like, well, listen, I gotta kick you out right now because I gotta go to work. They're like, so how are you gonna end this date? Me, well, how about a good old handshake? And get the frick out of my car. So we do a handshake and I'm like, thank you for taking me out. He's like, hey, so do you want to do this again? Me, yeah, of course. Trying to be nice because I can't just reject someone right away. So I sleep over it and I decide I'm not going to see him again because I actually really enjoy being single and I'm not sure if I'm ready for a relationship and the date didn't go that great. So nice guy, just not for me. Okay, and how do you know you're not ready for a relationship? A, you just don't want a relationship. B, you don't love yourself. You have to love yourself first before you can love anyone else. You're still not over your ex. I think that's a pretty clear sign. Or another thing, like in my case or our case, you haven't met the right person so far. You don't feel ready to commit yet. Like a lot of young people just want to live life and not commit yet because there's still so much you can do. And if you're single, you're pretty much, you don't owe anyone an apology or anyone a reasoning for what you're doing. So, you know, live your life the best. Another one is you just want a relationship because everyone else is in one right now. Let's pretend like everyone in your friend group is getting married right now or they're having babies. So you're like, oh, I'm behind. I have to, you know, catch up. Don't do that. You don't want to take just anyone just to be in a relationship. Another thing is if you have past trauma, maybe you should deal with that first before you get into a relationship because you don't want to have like a ton of burdens onto someone else because I bet you the other person like already has to deal with their personal life. Like maybe it's just not the right time. If you're super busy with work and you go into college or something and you just can't squish in to even meet your friends, how do you think you're able to like have enough time for a relationship? Because relationships take time, money, and investment. And if you're not willing to spend or give those things or you just don't have the option to, I don't think it's fair for the other person to give them false hope. Okay, so my final lesson for this video is just because you go on a date with someone, it does not mean you have to date them in the long run. And don't feel sorry for actually rejecting someone. I am terrible at doing that. That's why I said yes to a second date. But if you really don't want to go on a date with them and you already know that after the first date, you can tell them right away. Or just wait and say it later just to make it a little less awkward, but do not force yourself because you're gonna get hurt and they're gonna get hurt or you're gonna put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and they might miss out on a different situation. So it's always important to communicate and be honest. So I'll see you next week and single as a Pringle as always, so.
With my head